Unleash your creativity with the Micro Welder, episode 21. Today, I am going to show you how to make this honeysuckle necklace with Indian rubies. First, we want to make little stamens like this with a little hook on top. And basically, all it is wire that I've balled at the end so that the bead is stopped and cannot come through. I've got here 24 gauge half hard wire. I'm using half hard because I already like the smoothness and it being curved like this. You can use half, in this case, half hard or hard, dead soft. But with dead soft, it might get crookedy. You need to form it afterwards. So first, I'm going to ball this. And you can put this through first or ball it. Ball the wire before. Now, there are a few things you can do. You can use slightly lower power and then try to weld. Try to use lower power, if possible, to have your electrode to be dulled so that it doesn't emit as much. And you just want a little bit of heat to start making it softer and round and build volume without it blowing away. But if you are unsure, you need to test out. It depends on the thickness of wire, the condition of the electrode, whether or not it's sharp and clean, and then you adjust the power. So I'm going to first demonstrate using about 7 watts power. And I'm hooking this onto a foam clip so that you can see it better for filming. And I'm going to put it to the side. I have no argon gas, and I'm going to put a close-up. So you see, it's already balled a little bit, but I need to continue that because otherwise it's going to be too small to be able to stop the bead. So I've done it a few times, and I don't think it's big enough yet. I'm going to test out. If I can't put this through the bead, then I know it's going to be able to stop it. I still can. So the other thing is, I find that when I have very high power and this is melted, it goes lopsided. So you might have better luck going to the side of the electrode, but from the bottom. So then when it melts, it stays on to the wire. You see, this is what I mean. It'll melt back and it might be big enough to stop the wire, the bead. Almost. I can't make it go through, but we're getting closer. We're going to do it again. This might take a few tries until it's enough to stop the bead. So it's enough that way. Now, I'm going to show you a trick. So it's enough to stop this way after a couple of goes. So it's not a bad thing to thread your bead, do that until it's good, then cut your wire. Here is another method. Using some other wire that is the same size, what I do is I weld at a higher power at the top. So what I do is, actually this is an easy way. I push this way so that it's flush. I put it to 10 watts, hold on to both wires. Make sure that they're both touching. So sometimes you have to hold down to it and then hold this way so that they're clamped together. especially when your wire is not totally straight. Here we go. And for some reason, sometimes it works on the first try. Sometimes you just need to melt both sides, because if you're not holding it directly on, there. So it looks like this. I'm going to clean it so that you can see the effect. So it ends up looking like this, and I want it here. So all I'm going to do is, using flush cutters, go to where just the base of the ball right there. Now you have, now this is, mind you, this is very big, and I might want to roll it smaller, but that is one way of doing it. Okay, so this is a bit big. I'm going to try to weld it back. Now is rolled into the ball. That's perfectly smooth. Might have to straighten out. And that's the effect if you want it with a little bit more pronounced ball. There you have it. Okay, then I'm going to figure out how long I want it to be. Let's say if it's better to make it longer than shorter. And you might want to measure, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop it like this. And then I'm going to cut like such. And then I'm going to make it smaller with this loop. If you want to, you can weld that, but because I'm going to gather a whole bunch together and then weld something closed, it is not going to unravel. And I'm going to use flat pair of pliers so that it looks like a tiny key, a keyhole, and which I'm going to fit with a jump ring, a whole bunch of these, like this. In this case, I've welded this shut. You don't have to. So I'm getting closer. I've got two, and I can fit a lot more. But basically, I can put a whole bunch underneath at different lengths, and it's always a good idea to check as you go. So I'm going to make a lot more of these. And I'm going to thread the beads first. Okay. See, that's very fast. And I want them all to be different lengths. So I think I'm going to make a shorter one. And it's actually quite easy for me to hold on to it like this and then pinch here. Then I can cut it longer. And then you can straighten this way and then pinch. If you make a mistake, you can just lengthen it a little later. So I'm going to make sure that they're all the different lengths as I go. Nothing like that. I find it much easier to kink this way. And then I can just straighten out. Make it smaller if needed. And don't worry too much that it doesn't look nice, because it's going to be all hidden under the cap. Okay, I'm going longer. Okay. This is so easy and surefire doing it this way. The balling. It looks great. Okay. Let's see. Maybe I want a short one. I'm going to show you this. When I do it like this, because I over pinch it, this way, actually the wires will not, I don't even have to weld this. This is strong enough. It's not a very soft wire. It will keep its shape and will not come out easily. Okay, so now I am going to thread all of these with wire, having the long ones on the inside and the short ones on the outside. Maybe I need to shift them around. Basically, it's kind of like that. And we're going to gather them and twist and put it on the inside of the cone. So let's mock this up to see if we like this and whether or not we want to have more. But I think that's good. You can certainly have more if you wish, but I think that's good. And don't worry, you haven't gathered it enough. You're going to pinch it forward so that all of these get tucked in. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do this. I think I like it. I'm not going to add more. And then I'm going to pinch so that there's less resistance, because it's tapered, the cone is tapered up top. So now that I've done this, the ends, you see, they're all tucked in. You can't see them. And you can adjust if there's some that you think, oh, maybe I should have gotten higher. The other thing is, you can, even if you've done this part, you could just cut this and ball this end a little bit. So I think I like that. I'll adjust it. Maybe I'll shorten this one a bit. Okay, so I think instead of me undoing this, I'm going to shorten this one a little bit. So all I'm going to do is cut this off, take a piece of wire, it is so easy to adjust and do the same thing. There we go. I just make sure that I'm cutting off the right one. Clean it. There we go. So they're a little bit more spread out in terms of size, length, and I will twist these later. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that I have enough room for a jump ring here, like this. And I am going to then close and weld these two wires together so that it will swing, and then I'm going to weld the jump ring. So what I'm going to do is hold on to this. I'm going to wedge the jump ring all the way down, and then I am going to take those two wires together. Okay, so now I'm going to trim. And I'm going to ball the wires together. So now that is done. I'll give you a closer look. And if it's too high, you think it's too high, you can wedge it down. So this is what it looks like at the top. And I think now either you can put the chain through here, but I think I'd like it to dangle just a little bit more for length. So I'm going to weld these and then put the chain through and adjust the stamens. So here we go. We're going to weld. This is 20 gauge sterling silver. Make sure that's closed properly. Good. Excellent. And another jump ring. The one. Good. Okay, and then you can thread your chain through like that and adjust. So this is the finished result on the chain. And then when it's hanging, you can decide whether or not how you want it to be curved. And it's very simple. So say for instance, I want this to curve out this way. you can just hold on to it and curve out, or put it around the handle if you want it curved this way. So, and it's always nice to have one that's straight and the others curving out. It all depends on you, and I'm going to show you the finished product of how I curve it. And here is the finished necklace. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please like and subscribe. It really does help my algorithm. And let me know in the comments what city you live in and where you're tuning in from.